On the morning of May 15, 2025, 17-year-old Pheobe Bishop packed her luggage and left her home for the airport. As this map shows, her itinerary was straightforward. She was scheduled to depart from Bundaberg, fly south to Brisbane, and then connect onward to Western Australia. But Pheobe never boarded that flight. She never even checked in. When police reviewed the terminal surveillance cameras, they discovered a contradiction to her travel plans. The footage confirmed she had been dropped off near Airport Drive, but she never actually entered the building. When physical data contradicts a documented travel itinerary, investigators are left staring at a critical, unexplained gap in a timeline. That gap immediately created an investigative blind spot. Detectives had to determine exactly where she went after that drop-off and who she might have been with. The entire approach to the case shifted. Police could no longer rely on the teenager's expected movements and were forced to reconstruct her morning from zero. Authorities launched urgent public appeals, asking anyone who was near the airport precinct that morning to report any potential sightings. Finding Pheobe now depended entirely on mapping out those unrecorded minutes immediately following her disappearance from public view. As the search expanded, the primary focus moved away from the airport terminal and toward a highly specific, mobile target. Investigators urgently sought information about a gray Hyundai iX35. Police asked the public to check their dashcams for any sign of this car traveling along rural routes, particularly around Samuels Road. Sifting through hours of community footage in search of a fleeting glimpse of a specific number plate is a painstaking process. Ultimately, the vehicle was located and seized, while Phoebe's rural home in Gingin was officially locked down by police. A car in this context operates as a mobile crime scene, a physical bridge connecting a person's last confirmed location to an unknown fate. Securing both the property and the vehicle transitioned the operation toward a forensic reconstruction based strictly on physical material. The physical search radius pushed far beyond the boundaries of the airport terminal and deep into the harsh, unforgiving surrounding terrain. A multi-agency operation mobilized. Specialist search teams combed the ground, while aerial units and water resources scoured the rural Queensland landscape. For Phoebe's family, the days passed with uncertainty. There was no confirmed flight arrival and no ordinary explanation for her continued absence. Eventually, the geographic focus of the investigation narrowed tightly on the rugged, isolated area around Goodnight Scrub National Park. As the search grid moved deeper into the remote scrub, the probability that a teenager had voluntarily wandered off without a trace effectively vanished. On June 6, 2025, teams searching the bushland made a discovery. They found human remains. The standard search operation ceased immediately. The area was strictly locked down, and forensic teams took over the site. While the context pointed to a specific conclusion, authorities were legally bound to wait for formal forensic identification before making any official statements. The final testing confirmed the situation. The remains belonged to Pheobe Bishop. This geographical discovery changed the legal framework of the case, instantly transforming a rescue mission into a homicide investigation. Following the discovery, investigators moved to formally charge two individuals. James Wood and Tanika Bromley were both charged with murder and interfering with a corpse. The focus of the case then shifted away from the bushland and into the scrutiny of the justice system. As the matter heads to court, a core principle applies. A criminal charge is an accusation. Both remain accused, and guilt must be proven. The prosecution faces a specific hurdle. Without a living witness to the crime, they have to prove the sequence of events beyond a reasonable doubt. To do that, police assembled a sprawling evidence brief containing more than 135 individual witness statements alongside mountains of digital data. In a circumstantial case, the prosecution must weave hundreds of mundane, isolated facts into a chain of logic. A significant portion of this brief relies on digital footprints, specifically the harvesting of telephone and text message records. This data is paired with the biological material collected from multiple crime scenes, relying on DNA testing and post-mortem findings. As this timeline graphic illustrates, the ultimate challenge for investigators is cross-referencing this raw forensic science against the digital data of phone pings and CCTV markers. This alignment is required to place specific individuals at specific locations at exact moments in time. A morning that began with a teenager's intended flight to the coast ended instead within the fragmented reality of rural crime scenes and forensic laboratories. Ultimately, closing a timeline gap depends on verifying the movement and location of individuals through the forensic testing of every single unrecorded minute.